Belmar, a 28-year-old entrepreneur, investor, and internet personality
who took the internet by storm with his success in digital advertising, e-commerce, and investing in crypto and NFTs.
What e-commerce taught me was a few foundational skills. One is that marketing and distribution are more important than the product. If you have a great product, but nobody sees it, you're fucked. Number two, sales. If you want to make money, you have to sell.
Why are you so bullish on Pudgy Penguins?
I'm an equity shareholder in Pudgy. It was not an investment in the project. It was me betting on Luca.
Do you think university is a scam?
Absolutely. Imagine being in a scenario where I'm a business and I've convinced my entire population that in order to get a job, you have to go through me. Now you have all these motherfuckers that have more degrees than a thermostat and have no real experience. And if you can adapt your mindset to understand that money is a lagging indicator of success. The money that you get today isn't because you did something today. The moment you stop doing those things, then the future gets corrupted.
How can someone become a contrarian investor?
Develop your own investing thesis, understanding that investing isn't gambling. When you don't overspend and you don't operate out of a place of greed or operate out of a place of need, you can start making better value-based decisions.
Do you want to tell people how we got here today? Because it's a really cool story. It's a really interesting story.
It's an interesting story. So long story short, you hit me up in the DMs and you're like, yo, let's chop it up on my podcast. I'd seen some of your clips. You'd had Luca, which is one of my business partners, on here. I saw that you had some dope people and I was like, yeah, but then you also had some people I'd met, you know, I'd talked a little bit of shit about me. So I'm like, should I give this guy the time of day? And then you're like, bro, no, it's out of context. Don't take it too seriously. I'm like, all right, sounds good. Let's chop it up. So here we are today, bro.
Yeah. Also, I'm super excited to have you, man. So maybe as a start, we are still in January 2024.
Yes.
It's the first month of the year. And you wrote to your followers, 2024 is about getting wealthy in finance, health, mindset, relationships. This is the year of abundance in all areas of life. Do you think it's possible to master all of these at the same time, especially when you haven't made it yet?
Define made it. I define made it simply by being alive and by believing that you can become better, by having hope. I think that that's the first step. I think if you just have the perspective that you have opportunity to develop, I think that it's possible, you know, because when you begin to think about wealth by definition, you know, you have this concept, people like, oh, this is a wealthy man or this is a wealthy family, but they're only talking about money. And wealth by definition isn't money alone, it's abundance. So what are the areas of your life that you're supposed to figure out or continue developing in order to develop this wealthy, well-rounded life? And this idea of, well, are you going to always get to the place of mastery? No, right? There's always somebody that's going to have more money. There's always going to be somebody that's more ripped. There's always going to be somebody that has a better looking girl. It's just inevitable that there's always somebody that's going to have potentially some perspectives or some aspects of their life that are better than yours. But I think having that focus of not being one dimensional, of being like, because you were telling me, you know, hey, dude, I was in business, I traveled the world, lived in all these super mega metropolis, and then I went back home and my health was fucked. So it's like, were you wealthy? You had all these experiences, all these things, but you had a foundational thing that wasn't in check. So I think just having the mental kind of parameters of understanding that you don't have to neglect your health in order to make money. You don't have to not talk to your mom or your parents for 2 years because you're hustling and grinding in the business. No, there's a place of balance, and that's where I would define wealth.
That's really interesting because, I mean, if we were where we are today, we might have come across a podcast that Naval Ravikant released in 2019 or 18, which is...
the one with Joe?
So basically, he did one kind of like on his own based on all his tweets, which is how to get rich.
Without getting lucky.
Without getting lucky, right? Exactly. And then he went on Joe and that's how I discovered him, right? Through Joe. And then I went to this first podcast, which is 3 hours and a half. And one of the key points there is money is not going to make you happy, but it's going to help you get to a kind of stage of life where you can then focus on what really matters. And so what he advises is you should kind of make yourself almost miserable to make money as quickly as possible to then get onto the real things in life. But it's not really what you're saying.
Well, I wouldn't say misery, but I would say, how can I make the most amount of money expending the least amount of time? Because time is the valuable asset that allows you to then explore other things. And if you're every single day expending 10, 12 hours just working to make money, then you're neglecting every potential other area of life that is beneficial. You know, I was doing some research as to how the feudal age is kind of operated in the peasants and the feudal lords and the kings. And you begin to look at the work schedule of the peasants. These motherfuckers only worked 150 days out of the year. They didn't work 300 days out of the year like society teaches us today. So you have the peasants, the working class, by definition, peasant means just working class, back in the day, only working half of the year. So here we are as fiat slaves working 300 days out of the year, assuming that money is the most important thing. When it's all said and done, how much money do you actually need in order to live a wealthy, highly successful, fruitful life? Not a ton of money. You don't have to have billions of dollars to get there.
What's your answer to that?
My answer to that is figure out a level of comfort that matches your lifestyle. And it depends on everybody,
Absolutely.
right? And then don't overspend. Don't get to the place where you spend because you want to compare yourself to others, and don't fall for the trap of consumerism. If you become a consumerist, you're always going to have to make money in order to spend. But if you're a producer and not a spender, then you're focusing on how can I create things of value in the marketplace that eventually allow for opportunity and money to flourish.
So essentially become a producer and live below your means, which is kind of true freedom. Because if you live below your means,
You don't have to worry.
you're never going to worry. Exactly.